My name is Michelle Erickson. I'm the Executive Director at Wisconsin Literacy, Inc. And I am very pleased to welcome you here today for our annual meeting. I want to, again, thank you for taking the time. Many of you have been with us all morning at our fall virtual conference and have enjoyed a couple really rich sessions, and we look forward to more this afternoon. So again, thank you for being here and spending the day with us. For those of you who are just joining us for the annual meeting, I am really pleased to be able to introduce our staff. And we'll start with our Associate Director and staff. If you can wave your hand, I know it depends on how people's screens are showing at this point, but if you could just raise your hand and say, or wave your hand to say hello, that would be great. And I'll start with Ashley Hendricks, our Associate Director. We have all of our regional staff here today: Marcia Connett from the Southeast, Robin Hallett from the Northeast, Beth Gaetan from the Southwest, South Central region, Shannon Young in the Northwest, and Cassie McLean in the North Central part of the state. Anna Beer here is our Interim Refugee Service Program Manager. Heidi Frankson, our Development Director. Greg Pitts, our Controller. Dan Torres, our Data and Communications Manager. Jamie Cobbs, our Digital Literacy Project Manager. Stacy Martin, our Virtual Math Instructor. And on our Health Literacy team, we have Stan Hudson, our Director of Health Literacy. Bhumi Kambolja, our Program Director of Health Literacy. Carolyn Haney, our Health Literacy Communications Specialist. And we have our Vaccination Community Outreach team. Erin Augustin is our project manager there. And we have 3 VCO specialists: Will Housley from the southwest corner of the state, Patricia Wilson in the southeast, and Laura Cunningham in the northwest and northeast part of our state. So that is our staff. Thank you all for being here. We're also really pleased to welcome our board members. So those that, if I miss anyone, let me know, but I would like to welcome Christina Outlay is a new board member, has joined us. Greg Coleman from DPI has joined us as a new board member. Melissa Quinn up in Green Bay from Bellin Health. Melinda Auerbach from Gunderson Health System as our secretary is here. Justin Rivas with the Milwaukee Healthy Partnership Program. Eric Johnson, one of your fellow board agency directors at the Milwaukee Public Library Literacy Program. Yinka Shayambulla, who is a professor in the School of Pharmacy at UW. And Erin McCann, who has joined us as well as our vice chair and at Godfrey and Kahn up in Green Bay. No, and I think I missed a new staff member, actually. I'm sorry, Kelly Rush has joined us recently in this past month as our financial specialist, grant specialist and financial specialist in working with our new program around the Bureau of Refugee Programs. So welcome, Kelly. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce our board chair, Steve Munt, who is going to give a short welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle, and welcome everyone to either the annual meeting and or the conference if you attended earlier. So really happy to be here, and really just wanted to first off say thanks for all our member agencies, board members, and community partners for hanging out with us here either at this meeting or earlier today. And also really especially say thanks to our member agencies, the 75 groups across the state that are doing the work of literacy. At the board level, we often talk about our passion for literacy or our elevator speech, and I maybe just wanted to take a minute and share mine. And as I was thinking about this, I realized a long time ago, a lot longer than I want to admit, I made a contribution via United Way to one of the local literacy agencies here. And that was in memorial to someone close to me who had passed away. And when I made that donation, I didn't know much of anything about literacy. I mean, I was fortunate enough not to have literacy issues, and I didn't think about others. But that agency did a phenomenal job reaching out to me and starting to, first of all, say thank you for that donation, and start to provide me a little bit more every year about what they did and the work that they did and the need that was out there and the desire of folks across this state to get literacy services. And that agency did a great job engaging me, continuing for some financial support, ultimately some volunteer support, and most importantly, giving me a passion for literacy and to make sure that people across the state have the literacy services and have the literacy skills that they need. And that happens because of all of you here in this virtual room. So thank you so much. Very grateful that you're here. I know Wisconsin Literacy has been very excited to partner with you over the last, say, 18 months with growing in the COVID vaccination program. I know I just got my latest vaccination on Monday, so my arm's finally better. So, but thank you so much for that. And I think we're very excited to continue that partnership now, working with the Bureau of Refugee Programs in some workforce development for refugees across the state of Wisconsin, and then also literacy services for those refugees as well. So a lot to talk about. I won't take up much more time. I had intended to be here the whole time. I think some work commitments are going to get me out of here sooner rather than later, but I'm going to hang on as long as I can. I'll turn it back over to Michelle, and just once again, thank you to everyone involved in Wisconsin Literacy. Thanks for all that you do in forwarding literacy across the state of Wisconsin. So Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate your comments and being with us here today. I also missed a board member who is actually a representative for you all member agencies, and Anna Krause has joined us too. Anna has just joined the board this past year, and again, welcome. So we wanted to share the agenda today real briefly, and also we're going to approve the annual meeting minutes. So I guess in first doing that, I should call this annual meeting to order. So I'm officially calling the meeting to order, and would be happy to receive a motion to accept the minutes from the November 1st, 2022 annual meeting on this same day last year. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? It is Kristen. I just reset the link. Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to accept these minutes?
So moved, Yinka.
Thank you, Yinka. A second from anyone? Any member or board member, any member agency or board member can make a motion? I'm sorry, who was that?
Seconded.
Was it Aaron?
Okay,
No.
Jake.
Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Jake.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. All right. And we have a full agenda. We hope that you'll be able to engage with us, and we're going to share different stories and collective successes throughout the meeting. And please feel free to, if you have comments or things that you'd like to suggest, you're welcome to do that in the chat. We'll also have at the end of the meeting a time for all member engagement and activity. So we will jump right ahead, and we want to welcome first of all our guest. I'm going to have Ashley introduce our guest, and I know she's been trying to get in the meeting and might have had a little bit of a trouble. So I'm not sure if Kristen has jumped in the meeting. She's notified us that she's trying. So
So Kristen, if you could just let us know if you were able to get in.
I missed a call from her.
I don't see her on the list of attendants, and
Yeah, she's having issues getting in, and I'm not quite sure why. So I did resend the link, and I do have her slides. So hopefully she will be able to join us, because we're very excited to hear from her. So I'll give the introduction, and then we'll keep an eye out. But as many of you know, Wisconsin Literacy has been named by the Bureau of Refugee Programs as the sole provider of English language learner services to refugees and those who qualify for refugee status in our state. Funding associated with refugee support services will directly benefit 15 of our member agencies, their staff, and students, and we also look forward to providing resources to other members beyond that as well through this funding. So we are delighted to welcome a valued partner and collaborator. Kristen Olson is the Refugee Programs Coordinator with the Bureau of Refugee Programs. She has been instrumental in providing guidance, assistance, and clarity around the BRP grant. And she works on literacy, English as a second language, youth programming, and general services for the Bureau. So we're hopeful that Kristen was able to join us, so that if you can give us just a second, so we will check.
She just notified that the host has to let her in, but we're not seeing her.
Stan, and you don't see her either in the waiting room, Beth, or
No.
Shannon?
No, sorry, there's no one in the waiting room right now.
Yeah, she hasn't been admitted.
Maybe she's using the standard link for the regular conference instead of the one for the.
Oh,
Oh, there she is. I see her.
Perfect, yeah. All right. And you have her, I sent her, or she just sent the slides in case you need.
She in there?
All right.
Thank you, Kristen, for joining us. I'm sorry we've had a little bit of weird Zoom behavior on that link, but we're glad that you were able to get in and glad that you're here. So we are ready, and Ashley has provided your introduction. So if you want to take a breath first, and then we could jump into your update on the Bureau of Refugee Programs and work with Wisconsin Literacy.
Sure, thank you. Technology is always a little bit challenging. So the new link worked, so thank you for that. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share because I think my presentation is a little bit more than 5 minutes, and I want to give people time to ask questions if they have any. So I'm here today. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the kerfuffle with the Zoom link, but I'm glad that I'm here now. I am here to present on refugee arrivals in Wisconsin, looking ahead to 2024. So my name is Kristen Olson. I am a refugee program coordinator with the state of Wisconsin. Our Bureau of Refugee Programs is housed in the Department of Children and Families, which also houses our state refugee coordinator. So the Bureau of Refugee Programs is the state refugee coordinator's office. I'm just going to go into like a brief introduction about what we do before I talk about projections for 2024. Just not knowing the various backgrounds that we have with us today, I thought this would be helpful so you can see the lead up to where we're kind of projecting things to be at in 2024. So first, let's talk a little bit about who refugees are. So simply put, refugees are people who flee their country of origin for fear of persecution or actual persecution, any sort of violence or discrimination. This is the official definition here from the UN High Commissioner. To be classified as a refugee, an individual has to be given refugee status by the United Nations. So I want to talk a little bit about the refugee resettlement process. It's actually a federal process. And so individuals and families apply for resettlement in the United States through the federal government, the United States federal government. In collaboration with several offices, individuals and families are approved to resettle, but they go through a pretty comprehensive vetting process before the decision is made on their case, whether or not they will be resettled in the United States. The US does set limits on the number of individuals they will resettle annually. In special circumstances, executive orders can be created to manage emerging issues throughout the world, such as the Afghan crisis and Operation Allies Welcome. Okay, so I'm speeding along here just because I don't want to overtake my time, but after this federal process is determined, individuals are assured for various states and communities throughout the United States. So basically, from a high level, the United States reviews applications. They work with national resettlement agencies who then work with local resettlement agencies under their umbrella to decide where those individuals and families are being resettled. So it's actually the local resettlement agencies in Wisconsin who do the resettling here in Wisconsin. Individuals and families can request specific placement based on family ties or preferences, but that is not always guaranteed. So the initial program all refugees fall into is called Reception and Placement. That is run by the national and local resettlement agencies, and that is a program that they manage on their own. The state of Wisconsin is not involved in that process. So just kind of giving you a visual of how this works. It starts at the US federal government, then it moves to national resettlement agencies and the state of Wisconsin, or whichever state is involved in the process. From there, it moves to local resettlement agencies, local community organizations. And so the local resettlement agencies have interactions with not only their national resettlement agency, but also the state of Wisconsin. Okay, so that is the traditional resettlement process in a very, very quick, condensed way to describe it. But in 2022, there were a couple new resettlement models developed to respond to the emerging crises in Afghanistan and Ukraine. So some of you may have heard of Alternative Pathways, which was the program to respond to the issues in Afghanistan, and Uniting for Ukraine, which was the program responding to those in need in Ukraine. So the sponsorship model is a newer model, especially for the state of Wisconsin. Resettlement actually originally started out this way, but we've moved so far from that the reintroduction of sponsorship is new for this current administration, and also for a lot of our resettlement and community partners in Wisconsin. So basically, in a nutshell, under sponsorship, individual and community groups can apply to privately sponsor individual refugees to resettle in the US. That is, if those individual applications are approved. So what this model does is allows for more community involvement in the resettlement process. It allows for individuals with US ties, such as family or friends, to be resettled with their US contacts. So overall, it's a positive thing. But through the sponsorship process, it's federal direct to community. So the state of Wisconsin is not actually directly involved in this process. Individuals are being individually sponsored by US ties so that they can resettle in more rural areas. And these areas haven't traditionally seen large populations of refugees in the past. This means that new providers may be providing services to individuals resettled through the sponsorship program. Okay, so we talked about two main ways that refugees come to the United States. I just want to talk a little bit about refugee status. So there is a pretty specific definition for refugee status, as we talked about at the beginning. In order to qualify for benefits and services for refugees, an individual must receive an immigration status under the category of refugee. There's a lot more details to that, but that status is provided by the US federal government. So something to keep in mind is that not all immigrants who arrive in Wisconsin have refugee status, even if they are coming from countries of origin where refugees are quite common. So that is actually an immigration status that they have to receive when they enter the United States. So why this is important is because these are the programs that the state of Wisconsin administers. So we administer grant programs through the Office of Refugee Resettlement. Those programs are designed to help support refugees. We never want to turn anyone away, no matter what their status is, for services and support. But this is just to outline what the ORR grants can specifically fund, and that is only for individuals with refugee status. Okay, so the state's role in all of this, we administer all of those Office of Refugee Resettlement grants, which are designed to help support refugees in their new homes for up to 60 months or 5 years since their arrival in the United States. Some of the programs that we administer are listed here. We have general refugee support services, including employment and employability, English as a second language, which we'll talk about in just a second, other services, cash assistance, medical screening, health promotion, mental health, career development, service to older refugees, school impact, youth mentoring, and school impact support to schools. So quite a few initiatives to provide these comprehensive services, but today we're here to talk about ESL. So looking ahead to federal fiscal year 24, which starts every year October 1st and ends the following year September 30th. So that's the federal fiscal year timeline. The state of Wisconsin is partnering with Wisconsin Literacy to administer the Office of Refugee Resettlement Refugee Support Services ESL grant. So one of all of those grants, we've decided to partner with Wisconsin Literacy, which we're all very excited about. And they will be working with 15 subgrantees to continue the RSS ESL services in Wisconsin. So previously the state administered that with local partners directly. We are now working with Wisconsin Literacy, who will be administering that on the state's behalf with local partners. So who are some of the subgrantees that Wisconsin Literacy will be working with to administer ESL services in Wisconsin for refugees? Here is a list of some of those agencies. The agencies with the star asterisk next to them are returning agencies. So those are agencies that the state previously worked directly with to administer these services. And we're really happy that Wisconsin Literacy has found 10 other literacy agencies to work with us on these grants. So here's the second set of list here. Very excited to see all 15 agencies participating in this really important work that we're doing out in the community. So thank you to all of you who will be participating in this in the future. I want to talk a little bit more about looking ahead into federal fiscal year 24. Again, that's October 1st through September 30th. So as you can kind of see this graph, things have fluctuated over the past 9 years. So we started to see an increase in Wisconsin in arrivals starting in 2015 through 2016. There was quite a sharp decline due to some national changes and decisions made at the federal level. And as of 2021, we started that kind of sharp increase in arrivals. So what this means is a lot of community organizations, a lot of nonprofits, school districts, literacy agencies, local resettlement partners have been very, very busy responding to this steep increase in arrivals that occurred in 2022. For federal fiscal year 2023, we saw just a little bit less than 2022, but pretty steady in comparison to the previous fluctuations. I wanted to talk a little bit about where most refugees are concentrated. So that would be in the Milwaukee area. So Milwaukee County, but primarily the city of Milwaukee. This would be in the Fox Valley and Brown County, Marathon and Portage counties, and Dane County. So this is the actual numbers from 2023 spread across the state. So you can see Milwaukee had the most, followed by Fox Valley, followed by Marathon, and then Dane County, and then Brown County. So in 2024, we will have a new resettlement site in Sheboygan that will be run by Love Inc., which is going to be a local branch of resettlement in Sheboygan. So excited about that new initiative taking place in Sheboygan. So talking a little bit more about the numbers that we saw in 2023. So what created that total of 1,418. You can see we share data on country of origin because that helps us really understand the cultural and language needs of our arrivals. So we had the most arrivals from Burma, followed by the Democratic Republic of Congo. This information does not include all arrivals from Afghanistan. That total was in the 800s. So I think about 840. So that would have actually been the highest total for the state, but they came through a separate program. So that was reported separately. So if you take 1418 plus the 800 plus arrivals from Ukraine, it's probably closer to 3,500 arrivals that we saw in Wisconsin in 2023. So looking ahead to 2024, these are the approved known numbers of arrivals that we will have in Wisconsin. So I took you through kind of that crash course of how resettlement works to tell you that these are the assured individuals. So these are the known individuals that will be coming through the traditional resettlement process. That total in the state will be 1,640. And you can see where they will be spread through the state. Again, similar concentrations as we've seen in the past with a couple new areas highlighted. However, given that approximately 640 individuals, we are anticipating seeing 4,000 individuals in the state of Wisconsin in 2024. So where am I getting that number? I'm getting that number from the assurances, but also remember that private sponsorship model I talked about, which is happening directly between the federal government and communities. So that is an unknown number to the state at this time. Anticipated increase in applications for resettlement, secondary migrancy, and current events. Secondary migrancy is when a previously resettled individual or family moves from one state or community to another. So for example, if we had friends in Minnesota that decided they wanted to live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we include those types of arrivals in our estimated numbers for 2024. As we all know, there are a couple current events on the horizon that could contribute. It's unknown at this time, but could contribute to any potential future federal decisions about expanding the definition for certain populations for refugee status. Okay, that was very quick, but I hope it was informative. I just wanted to leave a few minutes here for questions. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Kristen, there are a couple of questions in the chat. Has there been an executive order currently that has increased the number for refugee status?
That would be no. And that is always decided at the federal level what the national quota will be that year. But as of now, there's been no specific executive order created to increase the number of arrivals that will be allowed to come to the United States this year.
Okay, then we're caught up in the chat.
Perfect. Any other questions? Any word on letting in Palestinian refugees? Not at this time. Any other questions for us?
This is Stephanie Stark, and I saw on one of your charts you had SIV, Special Immigrant Visa or something, and I don't know what that is. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so that is a very specific immigration status that falls under the refugee category umbrella, and you have to fit certain criteria for that status. Most recently, that status was given to some Afghan arrivals based on the criteria that they fit to be permitted into the United States. Okay, someone wants, what about the individuals coming in at the southern border who have no ID? Yeah, so that's a great question. I'll share my context slide at the same time here. The individuals arriving at the southern border are often coming without an approved refugee status, which means that at the border, they are potentially getting different stamps that we can't always anticipate. Some of them are paroled into the United States and have kind of set timelines when they need to kind of check in with the federal government and go to any immigration hearings. Some people can apply immediately for asylum status based on their situation. So asylee is one of the many designations that someone can have under the refugee umbrella that we use kind of loosely. You can be an asylee by applying from overseas to the US federal government through kind of more of that traditional resettlement process and getting approved to arrive to the United States with that asylee status. Many of the people that are coming through the southern border are seeking asylee status, but have not yet applied or gotten approval to arrive to the United States with the asylee status. It does not mean that they won't be granted it eventually, but they often have to go through a much more complicated immigration process to get that status once they have arrived. Does that answer your question? And many of the people that are arriving have various individual needs that we don't always know and can't always predict until we see the actual immigration status that they were given at US Customs and Border Patrol. So if there are ever any questions about a member of your community who may have one of those more complicated immigration statuses, you can always reach out to our office. We do have an immigration specialist on hand and we can try to assist. If we cannot, we can always point you in the direction of different resources to find your answers. We also recommend seeking out immigration legal support through local immigration lawyers. Due to some of the current and recent past events, there is a long waiting list at some of those offices. So the sooner you get into contact, the better. But again, you can always reach out to our office with questions as well. Okay, any other questions?
All right, well, if not, Kristen, I just want to thank you again. This was very helpful for me, and I'm sure for many of our members as well. So thank you for joining us and sharing the information. And as Kristen said, if you have questions, you can contact her, and she will put you in touch with the best person to help. So thank you again, Kristen.
Thank you so
And
much.
yes, absolutely. And just moving along then, I wanted to introduce a member of our staff that Michelle had mentioned earlier. So Jamie Cobes is our tutor training and digital literacy project manager. She has one of our longest titles. And she's going to share some information with all of us on some of her initiatives specifically around North Star. So Jamie?
Thanks, Ashley. We're celebrating a bit of a birthday or an anniversary today, and this stupid pizza party hat is all that Zoom has to offer me, but here we go. A year ago today, 10 of our member agencies signed up to use North Star Digital Literacy, which is an online resource for learning basic digital skills. It gives us access to teacher-led lessons, to self-directed learning modules, and to assessments for 15 different topics like basic computer skills, email, etc. Today, we have 24 members subscribed to North Star, and these 24 agencies are using North Star both to build the digital skills of their students, as well as their staff and their volunteers. So I'm going to ask you to do a little typing in the chat. I'm going to share some stats with you, but I'm going to make you guess first. So we have this collective network of 24 agencies using North Star. In the past year, how many hours do you think learners have logged on the self-directed learning modules? Put your guesses in the chat. 24 agencies using this. How many hours have we logged on the learning modules? Don't be afraid. All right, here they come. Thank you. And the answer is we have logged 1,040 hours of learning on North Star. Second stat I want to share with you, and you can guess again in the chat, how many North Star digital literacy assessments have we given in the past year? How many assessments have we given? All right, thanks for those guesses. The answer is we have given 2,335 digital literacy assessments this year. So thank you very much for that. I want to also recognize our member agencies who have a spot in what I call the 100 Club. So this means that they've given at least 100 of those digital literacy assessments in this past year. There are 8 of them, so I'm going to list them off in no particular order. The nice thing about being on Zoom is I don't have to tell you to hold your applause. So we can give each of them some love by either, turning your cameras on and going like this, or you can find the reactions in your menu, or send something in the chat, maybe in an emoji. So here they are, in no particular order, the agencies who have given at least 100 North Star digital literacy assessments this year. We have Oneida Community Education Center, Fox Valley Literacy, Literacy Network of Dane County, McLit, Cultural Linguistic Services, State Line Literacy Council, St. Michael and St. Rose Literacy Program, and Journey House. Yay! Thank you so much to all of our members who are using North Star and really working on implementing it with their students. I want to share 2 more opportunities before my time is up. Next Wednesday, I'll be hosting a North Star demo. So thanks to our grant from the Department of Administration, Wisconsin Literacy can pay for a North Star subscription for our members for the next 2 years. So if you want to know more about North Star and find out if it's a good fit for your program, next Wednesday, I'll be hosting that demo from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And I'm putting a link to register to that in the chat right now. If this time doesn't work for you and you just want to meet with me one-on-one, I encourage you to email me. It's just jamie@wisconsinliteracy.org. And then last but not least, immediately after our annual member meeting, we will return to our fall virtual conference. And the session that starts the afternoon is about digital literacy and English language learning. And our 3 panelists who are joining us for that all use North Star as one of their resources for teaching digital literacy. So I invite you to join us and hear about their challenges and successes. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Jamie. It's really exciting to see the growth with the North Star platform and all your leadership on that. So thank you for that recap. And then it's my pleasure to give a special welcome to our newest member agencies. So we had several join us in the past year, and I just wanted to share those with you. So CAP Services in Stevens Point, Faith Community Church in Janesville, Lutheran Social Services of Wisconsin and Upper Michigan with locations across the state, Hedberg Public Library in Janesville, the Burmese Rohingya Community of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, Portage County Literacy Council in Stevens Point, Lac du Flambeau Band of Lake Superior Chippewa Indians in Lac du Flambeau, Ashland Adult Literacy in Ashland, and Stockbridge Muncie Community Band of Mohican Indians Education Department in Bowler. So welcome all of you.
Ashley, I think we might have had a little error. It's actually we missed a Portage Library.
Oh, that's my
And so
fault.
I think maybe Portage County. So welcome Portage Library.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for correcting that. All right, and now I will turn it over to the man behind the computer, Dan Torres, our Data and Communications Manager, who's going to share some of the resources available on our website for our members.
Right, so first thing I want to go over is the member seal. If you don't have access to this, or if you haven't seen this before, this is something we use to promote our brands and strengthen our legitimacy as a coalition. So if you do not have access to these files, you can put them on your website or your newsletters or whatever publication you have. You can get them from your RLC or RCC. So reach out to them and they'll send you each of the colors, whatever works best for your communication needs. And we encourage you to add these to your website. It really helps us be able to strengthen our message when all of us have a cohesive image. Other than that, let's go over, I'm going to stop sharing for a second and then reshare our website. So one of the things I want to highlight on our website is this new tutor training page. If you weren't aware, we did a great, Jamie led and the rest of the regional staff led great training sessions for tutors. And all those sessions and the materials associated with them can be accessed from our website under the heading trainings and then tutor trainings. And there's 2 different tracks, well, 3 counting digital literacy, but the ELL and adult literacy track is very fleshed out, and there's a step-by-step process for how you would go about training tutors. So we encourage you to check that out if you haven't already. Other resources that I want to highlight is just like all the other resources that we have. So if you go to a resources page on our website, it's divvied out between general nonprofit resources and so administrative resources, more or less, and then resources associated specifically with literacy programs. We encourage you to check these resources out if you aren't aware of them, and spend some time looking through them so that you can get the most out of everything on our website. Other thing I want to highlight is our recent demographic survey numbers. Thank you so much for filling those out, those of you who did. And if you ever have trouble filling these out, just let us know, and we'll be happy to try to help you. But 57 members filled this out last year. These are the big numbers that we got from those. One of the big things that I like to highlight is the value of the volunteer hours that everyone put in was over $5 million. I think that deserves like a clap and a little hoorah. That's very amazing, and we want to thank you for all that you do throughout the year to make that happen. And another thing we want to highlight is the number of students we served this year was 11,000. That's the number that gets added up between adult basic education, ELL, GED, and children served. And we also have some very big key performance indicators down here. So there's 1,400 students, over 1,400 students that advanced an NRS level, 943 students who got their GED or high school equivalency, 993 that enrolled in post-secondary training or education, and then 547 that got a job, a better job, or received a promotion, and 797 students kept their job. So all outstanding numbers. That's all your great work that you put in throughout the year. And these numbers, when you report them, they help us advocate for you and communicate a clear message of how well we're doing and how much the need for adult education is there. So thank you all for that. And then we'll turn it over to Stan or Boomy for
I'll jump in here, Dan. If you can go back to the website and show under the Wisconsin Health Literacy side the vaccine community outreach resources that we've developed. You've got to go to the health literacy piece, and then you go to programs, and then you go down to the community outreach, and then once you click on that, there's a link to the resources that we developed. And this is something that we're been working on over the last few years to really make sure we're providing really good resources that are up to date, that are easy to understand and actionable for both the community organizations that we're working with, as well as our member literacy organizations, to make sure that they can share this information. A lot of these resources we have in many different languages to really make sure that we're reaching the most folks that we can. And if there is a language that you're seeing one of these resources that you think would be really useful for your community, but you're not seeing the language you need, please let us know, because we can get those translated into those different languages to make sure that that's making a difference. And so I'm gonna turn it over to Boomy real quick to talk more about the VCO, or the vaccine. I shouldn't say VCO. I'm using a thing that probably nobody knows, but vaccine community outreach work that we've been doing, just to give a better overview of what we've done.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So my name is Boomy Kambolja, and I am Program Director in the Health Literacy Division. I'm just going to provide an update about our vaccine community outreach initiative that literacy agencies have been involved with in the past and are still currently involved in. So this initiative started in 2021, where Wisconsin Literacy and Wisconsin Health Literacy partnered with 13 literacy agencies to conduct vaccine outreach. And we provided training, capacity building, resources, and funding for this work. Between May of 2022 and June of 2023, We expanded to work with other organizations such as religious organizations and community-based organizations that serve a specific community. So in that time, our community partners completed 5,750 different activities and reached over 2.5 million people. And I think it's a little bit cut off here on this slide, but as of July of this year, we are now working with 31 different organizations. And that includes, I think, about 5 member literacy agencies. So this initiative has greatly expanded over the years, and it wouldn't have been possible without your hard work. And we do look forward to working with more literacy agencies next year through the Bureau of Refugee Programs work, where we will be integrating health literacy into English language learner curriculum. So thank you, everyone.
I'll jump back in because I want to feature a couple of other of our Wisconsin health literacy programs that we've been really trying to focus on. I mean, as we all know, under COVID, there's been this increased reliance on using digital platforms to really connect people to health information and health services, whether that's using telehealth, patient portals, remote monitoring devices, those sorts of things. And so we've been really focused more recently on how best we can really meet those needs and help healthcare organizations in understanding that, but then two, how best we can increase those digital health literacy skills among community members so that they have those. And we're looking into different ways that we can train folks to be able to coach people into, especially I think using their patient portal, because we are relying on that more and more, you know, whether you want to ask your doctor questions, schedule an appointment, get a refill. You know, more and more these days, you've got to go through your patient portal instead of just calling up the facility. And so we're really, you know, trying to work on how to best increase that and teach those skills so that we can coach folks one-on-one on how to best do that. The other thing that I wanted to highlight before I give up my time is just that we are going to have another health literacy summit coming up this next year. It'll be April 8th and 9th. I hope you're able to attend. This is an exciting time for us because in the past we have really focused on just this being a Wisconsin Health Literacy Summit. And this time we're partnering with 8 other states across the Midwest and the southern part of the country to really, you know, bring in more perspectives and things. And so we, you know, really invite you to think about attending. One of the things is that we always do is provide member literacy agencies with a discount. So normally this would cost a little under $400 for most folks, but for member literacy agencies, we were able to keep the registration dollars down to $175. And so that can be another thing that, you know, even if you're not sure you have the money for, reach out to your RLC or RCC because they may have you know, money through different organizations that they could use to help support that, because we'd really like to have, you know, make sure that we've got the adult literacy programs well represented and being a part of the summit.
Okay, thank you, Stan. I'm looking at the time. I know I have a couple more updates, but most important is also hearing from all of you. So I'm going to be very brief to let you know about our strategic plan and our advocacy efforts, just to let you know that they have been going on. We have overlaid a diversity, equity, inclusion lens in our strategic plan, which is learning every day how we are a more inclusive and equitable organization. That work is going well, and we are working with a professional organization out of St. Louis. We also are doing, we have been doing advocacy work this whole past year. I want to thank many of you for jumping in to do that work with us. Some of you have been at listening sessions, have reached out to your legislators. I can just say that Wisconsin literacy is truly a stronger and more recognized agency within our partners at state government level and our legislature. We did really well to raise the profile of Wisconsin literacy during this last legislative session, and that is because of the work of all of you that we're able to take the data that Dan shared and tell the story of literacy on a statewide level and paint the picture of what you are all doing to change lives every day. So I really want to, again, thank you for advocating. Thank you for filling out your demographic survey, because that's how we're able to tell this story. And it truly does matter. I feel like both legislators and our state agency partners have truly listened and have reached out to us with these opportunities to share with the broader coalition how to engage people that they are serving as well, that you're serving, and how to engage them more with the efforts and the support from those state agencies. So with that said, I would like to turn it over to Ashley to share a little bit of time that we have left with some of your successes or things you would like to share.
Yep, we just have a couple minutes, but we do always enjoy hearing from you. So if any of you wanted to just jump on and share something, you know, that you were especially proud of accomplishing this past year, or a new program you may have started, feel free to just unmute or pop it in the chat, and we will wrap up the meeting by hearing your voices.
And please don't be shy, because I know from our regional staff, we've heard of some really great programming that has gone on.
Well, that's okay. We're proud of you. And we will tell your stories. We're proud to do that and honored to do that. So again, I just want to thank everyone for attending and for all the updates, especially Kristen's information on refugee populations. And then I will turn it over to Michelle to officially adjourn the 2023 annual member meeting.
Okay, well, I can't adjourn without one more time just saying, is there really anything you'd like to ask us or anything you'd like to share about your successes? I know, again, from our regional staff, we've heard amazing things that you're doing, growth that is happening at the local level. So please feel free to share or to ask any question when this last minute or so.
Michelle, I just want to say that if no one else is going to, thank you for all that you've done for all of us, the amount of equipment, the amount of resources that we've had received from you all over the years, and where you've taken over and where you've led this place to is pretty remarkable. And I think that this meeting would be not complete without someone saying that to you.
Oh, thank you, Jake. I appreciate that a lot. I know this will probably be my last annual meeting with all of you, and I want to just say that I feel extremely privileged and fortunate that the last 18 years of my life has been spent working at Wisconsin Literacy, from our board of directors to our amazing staff, our partners, our member agencies, all of you that have made this coalition what it is. We've gone from 20 some members to 75. We are now a funding agency where we're able to finally support our members with the resources that you need to do the amazing work that you're doing. We've come such a long way. And I can't say that it has been nothing but a joy. Not to say there aren't long days sometimes, but I, again, feel so privileged to be able to have done this work alongside of you all. So again, thank you so much for all the time and energy that you put into this and your commitment to Wisconsin literacy. We really do have a strong voice outside of our coalition that has been growing every day. So thank you again.
Well said, Jake. Absolutely, absolutely. And before we adjourn, I do want to just remind everyone once more that when we are done here, you can close out of this link, and then anyone and everyone who is able to join us for Jamie's session, it starts at 1:40, and that is with the main conference link. So we'll need to close this one out and hop into there.
Thank you all.
Yeah, turn the meeting.
And I'd like to officially adjourn the meeting.